Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the life you truly desire. Not the one you think you can have, but the one you want. The relationships, the success, the impact, the peace. Now open your eyes and realize this. What you just saw is not fantasy, it's a preview. It's the trailer to a movie that's waiting to be made, and the director of that movie is you. You see, imagination isn't something just for dreamers or artists or kids lying in the grass staring at clouds. No, imagination is the foundation of creation. Everything that exists in this world, every building, every invention, every business, every movement, began first as a picture in someone's mind. Before the iPhone, Steve Jobs imagined a device that put the world in your pocket. Before humans ever touched the moon, someone imagined a rocket leaving Earth. That's the imagination frequency, and it's always transmitting. The only question is, are you tuned in? Now, most people are not. Most people are trapped in what we call reality. They look around and say, well, I can't imagine that happening for me. And that becomes their truth. Not because it can't happen, but because they've chosen not to imagine it. They've turned off the signal. Here's something to think about. Your mind works in pictures, not words, not logic pictures. When I say the word car, what shows up in your mind? You don't see the letters C, R. You see an image, maybe your first car, maybe a sports car. That's imagination at work. So if you're going to change your life, you have to start changing the images you allow your mind to dwell on. Because those images become instructions, and your subconscious is listening. Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Why? Because knowledge is limited. It's based on the past, on what has been done. But imagination, that's about what's possible. It expands beyond your past. It opens doors to new futures. And when you begin to take your imagination seriously, when you start to feel what it's like to live in that vision, something magical happens. Your mind and body begin to align with that frequency. You begin to attract ideas, people, and opportunities that match your mental picture. Think about when you've daydreamed about something deeply, how real it started to feel. That's not just fantasy, that's practice, that's rehearsal, and the more you do it, the clearer the signal becomes. So I'll leave you with this. Imagination is not wishful thinking. It's powerful mental programming. Don't waste it on fear, on replaying the past, on what-ifs that never serve you. Use it intentionally, because your imagination is your first blueprint for success, your first connection to the frequency of the life you're meant to live. Keep that vision alive. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you're tuning into a frequency, just like a radio. You're broadcasting thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and receiving signals that match them. That's how the universe works. It doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are in harmony with. That's why tuning into the right frequency is the key to unlocking the life you've been imagining. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt a vibe, good or bad? That's frequency. Ever meet someone for the first time and feel like you've known them forever? Frequency. And ever notice how when you're in a bad mood, everything seems to go wrong? That's not coincidence. That's your internal frequency attracting experiences that resonate with it. So, if you want to live that imagined future we talked about, if you want to manifest those big visions, you have to become a match for them. And that means changing what you're tuning into every single day. Not once a week. Not when it's convenient. Every single day. Because whatever you consistently tune into through your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs becomes the channel your life starts to play on. This is why just thinking positively isn't enough. You can say, I'm abundant, I'm successful. But if deep down you feel worried, afraid, or unworthy, you're not tuned in. You're speaking one frequency and feeling another, and it's the emotional frequency that wins every time. Let's break it down. Your emotions are like the volume knob. They amplify the signal. So if you're visualizing a goal, but you're feeling frustrated, the signal is weak and scrambled. But if you're imagining that goal with passion, joy, and gratitude, as if it's already yours, you amplify that frequency. You send out a clearer message to your subconscious and to the universe. That's why elevated emotions are essential. Gratitude, love, confidence, faith. These aren't just feel good words, they are power generators. They raise your vibration. And when your thoughts and emotions sync at a higher level, you become magnetic to everything on that frequency. People, ideas, circumstances, even miracles. It's like tuning a radio. If you want to hear your favorite song, you can't be on the wrong station. You might be close, but if there's static, you'll miss the beauty. Life works the same way. You can't receive abundance if you're stuck on the poverty station. You can't connect with love if your thoughts are still tuned to fear. The signal is there, but you have to dial in. And here's the thing, it takes discipline, it takes awareness. You have to catch yourself when you start spiraling into the wrong frequency. When you catch yourself imagining worst-case scenarios, worrying about things you can't control, or repeating old limiting beliefs, you pause. You breathe and you change the station. That's what people with strong mindsets do. They don't allow their environment to control their frequency. They train themselves to rise above it. And it's not about being fake or ignoring challenges. It's about choosing a higher response again and again until it becomes your new default setting. So remember this. The life you want is already out there, broadcasting on its own frequency. Your job is not to force it into existence. Your job is to tune into it. And when your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions align with that frequency, that's when things begin to shift. Keep tuning into the signal of your vision. You know, one of the biggest myths people still believe is that imagination is just pretend. Just something children do. But the truth is, your imagination is not only real, it's powerful. And what's more, science is finally catching up to what thinkers, mystics, and visionaries have been saying for centuries. The mind can shape reality. It all begins with visualization. Think of your brain like a simulator. When you vividly imagine yourself doing something, let's say, giving a powerful speech, landing your dream job, or walking into your dream home, your brain lights up as if it's actually happening. Neurologically, your mind doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a clearly imagined one. That's not a motivational quote, that's neuroscience. Studies have shown that athletes who mentally rehearse their performance, without even physically moving, can improve just as much as those who train physically. Olympic gold medalists like Michael Phelps didn't just practice in the pool. He visualized every stroke, every turn, every breath in his mind thousands of times. That's imagination training. That's locking in the frequency of the result you want until it becomes automatic. And it's not just athletes. Successful entrepreneurs, performers, even astronauts use mental rehearsal to train their subconscious to accept success as normal. They don't just hope for the best, they live it in their mind first. Why? Because your mind is always taking notes. And when you visualize consistently with emotion, you give your subconscious a very specific instruction. This is who I am now. Most people don't realize this. But your subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to repetition and emotion. That's why daydreaming isn't just a fun escape. It's a creative act. When done with purpose, it becomes a tool, but you must do it deliberately, with feeling. If you just imagine passively, like watching a movie you're not invested in, it won't move the needle. But if you feel the joy, the confidence, the gratitude of already having the thing you desire, your entire system responds. You change your chemistry. You literally begin to create that version of yourself from the inside out. This is how people break patterns. They stop identifying with the old story and start rehearsing the new one. Visualization isn't magic, it's programming. It's building new mental circuits that tell your body, this is the new normal. And once your body gets the message, you begin to act differently. You carry yourself differently. You notice different opportunities. You attract new kinds of people. And eventually, the external world starts to catch up with your internal world. Now let me be clear. Visualization alone won't do all the work. But without it, you're leaving your potential to chance. Because if you're not consciously imagining your future, you're probably unconsciously replaying your past. And guess what? That loop becomes your life. So take a few minutes each day, just a few, and see yourself living the life you're building. Not hoping for it, not begging for it, but living it. Feel the emotions, smell the air, hear the sounds. Let it be real in your mind, because every time you do that, you're planting a seed, and the more often you water it with attention, belief, and feeling, the faster it grows. Trust the process, visualize with intention, and let your imagination become your training ground for greatness. Now that you understand how powerful your imagination is and how visualization creates real impact, let's go even deeper, because imagination isn't just a mental exercise. It's the engine of manifestation. It's how you move thoughts from the invisible world into the physical world. Every result you want, more confidence, more money, more peace, more impact, starts as energy. And the most potent form of energy you have is your imagination. So let's be honest. If you can see it in your mind, and you can feel it in your body, then it already exists in some form. And what you're doing through imagination is aligning yourself with that version of reality. So it becomes inevitable. This isn't fantasy. It's not wishful thinking. It's energetic alignment. Think about it. How many times have you imagined something going wrong? A conversation, a decision, an event. And then your body starts reacting as if it's actually happening. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your mood shifts. That's manifestation too, just in the wrong direction. You're using your imagination against yourself. But when you flip the script, when you start using your imagination to create outcomes you want, not outcomes you fear, everything changes. You start broadcasting a different signal. You shift your expectations. You begin to anticipate success instead of worrying about failure. That anticipation is magnetic. It pulls what you want toward you because you're living in a state of readiness. One of the most important truths you'll ever hear is this: you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are in alignment with. That's why imagining your dream life once and forgetting about it doesn't work. You have to live in that feeling. You have to emotionally visit your future again and again until your subconscious believes it's real. Because once it does, it starts guiding your behaviors, your habits, even your identity to match that picture. And that's what makes imagination so powerful. It bypasses logic. It doesn't care about how things are now. It creates from the level of possibility. And when you consistently imagine a better reality with emotion, the how starts to show up. because your mind is now searching for ways to make the internal image match the external world. This is why practices like scripting, vision boards, and creative meditation work so well. They're not just fun exercises. They're tools to activate the imagination frequency over and over again. They train your nervous system to expect success. They pull your awareness out of fear and into vision. They remind your brain that there's more available than what you can currently see. Now, people often ask, how long do I have to keep imagining until it shows up? And the answer is, as long as it takes to become the version of you who no longer needs to wish for it, because you've already become aligned with it. The version of you that's calm, focused, certain. That version lives in imagination long before it ever shows up in your bank account or your relationships or your results. So, if you truly want to manifest the life you keep picturing in your mind, don't just think about it once and wait. Make imagination your daily ritual. Make it a sacred time when you align yourself with your highest vision. Because that's not just a dream. That's a blueprint. That's a signal. That's power. And when you keep showing up for it, it eventually shows up for you. So far, we've explored imagination as a personal tool, a way to shape your life, align your emotions, and attract the future you desire. But let's zoom out for a moment. Let's ask a bigger question. What happens when you use your imagination not just to upgrade your own life, but to impact the world around you? Because true imagination doesn't stop with personal gain. It becomes a force that influences the lives of others. That's when imagination becomes leadership. Think about every major breakthrough in history. Social change, inventions, technology, progress of any kind. All of it began with someone imagining something better than what already existed. Someone looked at the world not as it was, but as it could be. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream, not a plan. Elon Musk imagined life on Mars. Malala imagined a world where girls go to school without fear. The world changes when one person dares to hold a vision no one else can see yet, and then acts on it. This is the mindset you need to cultivate. Global imagination, not in the sense of fantasy, but in the sense of responsibility. You have a mind that can visualize, create, feel, and align. So the question becomes, what are you doing with it that's bigger than just you? Because when your vision expands beyond yourself, your energy expands too. And with that expansion comes deeper motivation, stronger belief, and often miracles. When you imagine a better future for your family, your community, your country, or even the world, you rise above short-term thinking. You stop obsessing over small problems. You stop shrinking yourself to fit inside temporary limitations. You realize you weren't put here just to survive. You were born to shape, to influence, to serve. And the first tool for that is your imagination. So start using it on a bigger scale. Imagine yourself as a leader. Imagine what your message could do for someone across the world who's never even met you. Imagine how your courage might unlock someone else's. This isn't ego. It's purpose. It's expansion. It's recognizing that the energy you carry, your frequency, affects more than just your personal results. It ripples outward. And the beautiful part, you don't need to be rich, famous, or powerful to start making that ripple. You just need to imagine. Imagine possibilities when others are stuck in problems. Imagine connection when others are stuck in division. Imagine hope when the world feels heavy. That mindset alone makes you different. It makes you a lighthouse in a foggy world. Because the world doesn't need more people reacting to reality. It needs more people imagining new ones. Innovators, visionaries, people brave enough to ask, what if it could be better? And then tune their frequency into that answer. So wherever you are in life right now, Don't keep your imagination trapped in a box labeled someday. Use it today. Not just to escape what is, but to shape what could be. For yourself, for others, for the world. We've talked about how imagination shapes reality, how it's powered by frequency, how it programs your subconscious, and even how it can transform the world around you. But none of that matters unless you make it a part of your daily life. You can't treat imagination like a one-time spark and expect it to light up your whole future. No, this is about consistency. You have to activate the frequency daily. The truth is, most people drift through life on autopilot. They wake up and immediately get pulled into routine, checking their phones, reacting to messages, scrolling through negativity, thinking the same thoughts they did yesterday. And what happens? They keep creating the same results. Different day, same vibration. That's not alignment. That's repetition without awareness. And if you want to live a life that's imagined, deliberate, inspired, powerful, you have to start your day by tuning in, not just turning on. So how do you activate that frequency? It's not complicated. You start with intention. Even just 5 to 10 minutes in the morning can recalibrate your whole mental state. Sit quietly, close your eyes, visualize the version of you who already has what you desire. Feel what they feel. Think like they think, walk like they walk. That small practice done daily rewires your brain and reshapes your identity. And then journal, write from the future, not about what you hope will happen, but what's already unfolding. I'm grateful that I'm finally doing work I love. I'm attracting the right people. I feel free. I feel focused. Why? Because writing it down moves the vision from thought into form. It activates it with language. It tells your subconscious, this is the new story, next. Speak your frequency. Literally, out loud. Speak your affirmations, your intentions, your truth. Your voice has vibration. It's not just motivational talk, it's energetic alignment. When you say, I am confident, you're not just hoping. You're calling that version of you to the surface. And the more you repeat it, the more real it becomes. And here's a key piece. Throughout your day, protect your frequency. Don't let the world pull you into chaos. That doesn't mean you avoid reality. It means you respond from a place of alignment. When negativity shows up, when fear creeps in, you pause, you breathe, and you ask, is this helping me tune in to my highest self, or is this noise? That one question alone can change how you move through your entire day. Imagination, remember, is a living force. It needs attention, energy, and nurturing. It grows where you feed it. So feed it every day with vision, emotion, and belief. And even on the days when you feel low or off track, come back to the practice. That's the difference between people who imagine a better life and those who actually create one. It's not luck. It's daily alignment. So don't wait for a perfect moment. Create a daily space. Your personal frequency room, where imagination meets intention. Because the future isn't something you find. It's something you tune into, moment by moment, day by day. Tools